Now, what fascinated me about this movie that I want to share with you is the fact that with so much emphasis being placed on Indigo Children lately, this movie to me depicted the Indigo child in its inner special turmoil that it experiences, and that this movie actually showed that this kid had this intense experience of himself, and that he was horribly misunderstood, and that he actually went to his world and created this experience for himself. However, the fact that he left and that point remained the same, the world remained the same, these creatures, he actually left them behind, sobbing and distraught and not knowing what to do with themselves, is interesting because it ties in a lot with the hype that is being made about Indigo Children lately, which is that they're deep and they're special and they're horribly misunderstood children, and that actually what is inside the child is emotional turmoil. They are not dealing effectively with the information that they're being fed. I mean, they're at a point within consciousness where the child is at a specific point within the design of consciousness, and the children will actually be encouraged by the parents by being told from an early age, you're special, you're different to other children, you're a star child, you're a crystal child. And this doesn't assist the child at all, because then they are given permission to lash out and to not actually learn to be practical and self-honest in this world. They're not given practical tools, they're given information about how different and unique and special they are. And this movie to me depicted that this child left, the stuff was still there, but now the mother learned to accept him for the way he was, and he learned to be more understanding of the mom, thus trapping the mom in what she was accepting and allowing, and she was trapping him in the fact that he was now going to see himself as, the stuff is still here, but I'll just cope. I'll just carry on. And I mean, it's beautiful actually that these creatures remain the same. As he left them, they remain the same. In fact, if he had to climb out of his little boat and go back to these creatures, they'd probably kill him. On a few occasions they did try and kill him. And that, to me, was a fascinating point with regards to the stuff that's not being dealt with, and this movie depicted it. And to me it was unsettling in a way to watch this movie, because it gave some really cool insight into what really goes on inside of these children, and that we've designed consciousness to such a point that consciousness is now really, what's the word? It's like able to advance itself. It's able to design new, better systems within consciousness, and now you have these better designed children within consciousness who are in a limited world which is designed just to support the money system, and their parents are living to support the money system, and everybody they come in contact with is just trying to survive. Now you have this kid that, according to generations before, has been designed to be super sensitive and super intelligent, and that's basically the evolution of consciousness. I mean, there's nothing special about it. And the problem is that society and these people who are writing these books are feeding the parents information that the kids are special. I mean, these kids are just a result of what we have designed consciousness to be. Okay? There's nothing special about it. Because while we are supporting these children with information of how special they are, we're creating a world that's more and more unstable and more based in possession and polarities of the mind and emotional instability. That's all that we're doing. We're not actually creating a support foundation for these children, for the next generations. So this book was very fascinating with the fact that movie, that it depicted that this is what was really going on inside this kid, and he walked away from it, and the problem remained. And the fact that they put that into a movie, and that because they know that people will watch it, obviously, that's why they made the movie. It's interesting because it gives the children and the people who watch the movies a point of reference with regards to, whoa, the stuff that's going on in my kid that's making my indigo kid lash out and aggressive and whatever. This stuff is real, and I can see that even as it plays out in this movie, it's a point of reference, but it's not giving the solutions, obviously. It's just giving the fact that the kid could walk away. That was the emphasis of the movie. The kid walked away. He had this teensy-weensy little realization, but he left his problems on that island. And that to me is a very interesting summary of, and obviously the movie endorsed the fact that you can find ways, if a parent becomes more understanding and supportive of their indigo child, as the mother did in this situation. She got such a fright that he ran away, but she immediately became more supportive. And it's basically teaching parents, if you just support your indigo kid, then everything is fine. You don't have to look at the core issue, and you will find ways. In fact, if you encourage the indigo child to use their imagination and be expressive and wild and all over the place, they will work through their problems. But actually what the child's doing is, it's not effectively dealing with it. And we're seeing that, interestingly enough, more and more coming up these days, where children are, indigo children are being labeled as special because they're misunderstood. And why do we say they're misunderstood? Because they're lashing out. They don't have a foothold in this world. Why? Because they are not being taught practical skills. They're not being told that they are a physical being in a physical reality. Let's find physical, practical, self-honest ways to live. They're being fed information about how unique and special they can be, which is the design of consciousness, and that's the evolution of consciousness, which is not actually evolution. We're at the same point of doing exactly what we do in the name of self-interest and enlightenment, and now our children are paying the price by being labeled as indigo children.